Greetings all. Hopefully everyone had a good Thanksgiving. It's November 26th and this is the first official build vlog for the 2018 season. Yes, 2017 hasn't ended and we're starting on 2018. We're getting a jump on it. Those of you that have been following my channel for a while now will have noticed sometime back that I made this. This is our hours sign. It says haunted tents, free admission, cash donations, gives the dates, gives the hours. We hang that one out front. And if the camera, well, you can't tell, all you see is the plywood back. But I've got another one here that has all of our rules on it. Now, I've had these for some time now. They're starting to get nicked up, dinged up. They're ready for painting. Well, not ready for painting. They're ready to be touched up, painting-wise, because of all the dings and nicks and what have you. And this year we had, it was probably about the worst year we've had problems with people actually breaking into the haunt. Even with that one being out front, and we had lights on it so people could see it. They were ignoring it and forcing the gates and coming into the haunt, thinking the haunt was open, even though everything was turned off. No lights, no nothing. And I decided I'm going to fix that problem. I am going to make sure people see the signs. We're revisiting an old haunted treasures prop. Light boxes. I am going to set these off to the side. They're going into storage. We will no longer be using either this or the rule sign, and we are going to do some giant light boxes, the same size as the actual signs were. We're going to copy the pattern with some Sharpies onto some plexiglass, which I've already got pre-cut and ready to go. And we're going to do light boxes. I am going to change up the background on this one here, though. I want both signs to match, and I like the brick pattern on that one. So we are going to do a brick pattern on this one, I think. I've got to take more look into it. Right now we're just starting. I've got ideas bouncing around my head. I don't know. But for all points and purposes, we are going to do two light boxes to start out with. For the project, I've got my plexiglass. It's pre-cut. I've got the original up here that we'll use for a template to get all the lettering and everything sketched onto the plexiglass. We've got some Sharpies out to do the outlining with. I picked up a bunch of caulking, and that's what we're going to do the lead lines and stuff to get the stained glass look. And some masking tape, which we'll use to adhere the plexiglass onto that so things don't move. And I've got other supplies and stuff I ordered right about Halloween that started to come in for the project, and we'll cover those when we get to those areas. We've gotten a couple of steps done. First off, we've gotten both the rule sign, and this one's our hours sign, stenciled in on the plexiglass using a Sharpie, and I just went over and traced everything out on the original signs. I did change the font. I went more basic. One of the complaints we did have with the old signs is the fancy font I use. A lot of people had trouble reading it. So we went more basic. Now, I have gone through and gotten the next step done over here. Like I said, we had them laid out. And we'll go down here where you can read it better. But this is the rule sign. I've gone ahead and gone over all the Sharpie marks with caulking. And once it's all the way dries, I can come back through, paint the caulking the color I want it, and it'll act as my lead lines. And then I can come back in here and all the individual places and do my paint that the light will shine through. I started this a couple of days ago, and been slowly working on it a little bit in the evenings as I've had time. But I've also been working out in the shop on the frames or boxes, or however you want to call it, what these sit in and what the lights will attach to. Let's get you out in the shop and I'll give you a look at those. I am quite a ways on those as well. I haven't done any footage, but I'll run you through what I did out there. I'm being watched. We got a Kaylee peeking in the door at me. We are out in the shop. I wanted to run over the frames that the plexiglass is going to be in. I'm doing a little bit differently, and I'll go into that in just a sec, but there are the cases. The shorter one is for the hours, the taller one is for the rules. Now what I'm doing differently on them, they're pretty much the same as the small light boxes that I make and sell through Haunted Treasures. But what I'm doing differently with the light boxes from Haunted Treasure, I'm using this 1 inch thick by 3 inches wide pine stock. And for the plexiglass, I cut a groove in the framework, and the plexiglass fits in that groove, and then we just pretty much wrap it, make a box out of it. Works fine for the smaller ones because the plexiglass is a smaller piece. It doesn't flex, you know, and bend and stuff as easily. With these boxes being so big, and it means it's a bigger piece of plexiglass, it needs more support around the outside edge. So I'm going back and doing, in fact, here's the front of it so you can see it. I've actually built up a lip that the plexiglass will be sitting against. Alright, we got it up on the table now, and you can see the lip. Here's the piece of plexiglass that will be out where the public can touch it. The public will not be able to touch the actual sign itself. But anyway, this piece here I've got, you know, I still got the protective film on it so you can't see through it. But that will be pretty much the face of the box. That's what people will be able to see and touch. Once I get the, once that's in, the pieces are in the house I'm doing the actual artwork on will go in next. And then to hold everything into place, I've got some more of the stripping here. And it just kind of fits in there like that, and I'll staple it. Staple it into place, and that will hold the plexiglass in. The lip here that the plexiglass sits on gives a better backing, more support for the plexiglass, so it's not so flimsy. And then after all the plexiglass is in and I get these strips nailed in, I can attach my lights back here. The stripping will also help hide the lights. So the frames are all sanded. They're ready. I'm going to be staining the outside of the frames. On the inside, I am going to be painting it white to help reflect the light of the RGB light strips I'm putting in. I still need to get the back piece on here, and I'm going to be using some 1/4 inch plywood to cover the back of it. And once I get that, you know, fitted in on the place, that will help square the boxes up too, so they'll be a little bit more square. But anyway, that's pretty much what I'm doing with the boxes. Like I said, I'll be painting the inside of the plywood and the inside lip here all the way around to help reflect the light. The outside is going to be getting stained, and probably a good heavy coat of polyurethane over the top of that to help seal them. Well, for the most part, I've got the frames done. That's the one that goes to the rule sign, and this is the one that goes to the hour sign. Only thing I have left to do with them at this point is I've got to put a clear coat on them, which I'm getting ready to do. I've got almost a full can of clear coat, which is more than enough to do both the frames. And I want to get a good healthy coat of the clear coat on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the can. I'll give these a good coat today, let it dry, and I'll come out and I'll just keep going until that whole can's gone. And we'll see how many coats we get on here. I'd like to get about 3 coats on these frames to really protect them. We went ahead On the underside here, we got that painted white. That will help reflect the light from the RGB light strips. And I got the back panels also painted white. I'm not going to worry about clear coating those because those will be on the inside and semi-protected. But this outside area here that's stained brown is going to be out in the weather. And I want it protected. So, get the clear coating done and then we'll be back in the house working on the lenses. Okay, now we're back in the house. The frame's out there, and I'm sorry about the segments on those. They were kind of stuttery. I knew what I wanted to say, but when I turned the camera on, my mind went blank. It happens, even to those of us that vlog a lot. At least you didn't have a whole lot of rambling, and I have no idea what the footage looks like because I haven't edited anything yet. But I apologize if those last segments showing the frames out in the shop were a jumbled mess and ununderstandable. We're back downstairs in the basement shop. We've made some progress on, I want to say films or lenses or the panels that are going to get the stained glass look to them. We've made quite a way. Here's the rules. And you can kind of see it, you kind of can't. My shadow's getting in the way. But we've got the, in fact, here, let's go here. We'll go over here to this one here. This one's the hours one. You can see it a little bit better. We've got the caulking on. It is set up. I've got the lead lines all painted. For the majority of it, it's been done in gray. I did highlight the letters in red and the wording and some of the wording in black on here. Basically for daytime, you know, so it'll be seen better at day. Once it gets dark and the lights come on, you really won't see the coloring on the letters or the numbers because the light's going to be shining through. You won't see the coloring on the letters, I should say. You'll still see the letters because the light won't shine through the letters. Now, if you'll notice, down here, I've got October, then a blank, then a dash, through November 1st. This year, we normally open up our display on the 28th. This year, and there's been a couple of times in the past, we've opened up a day early. So I've had to put a plaque over the 28 marking and then mark the date, you know, whatever date it is we're opening. With doing the stained glass style, I can't do that because people wouldn't be able to read it at night because nothing would shine through the little plaque I put up. So I figured I'd get smart. Me and Sue talked. The earliest we would ever open is the 25th of September, 3 days ahead. So far we've never opened up that early. But I went and made, you know, some 2 28s, 27s, 26, and 25. And I'm going to do these up in the same coloring as I'm doing the signs. And this is meant to fit on the back, right, like that. You know, and that way the light will shine through it and you'll still be able to read the date and everything. So if we open on the 28th, I'll put the 28th there. If we're planning on opening up on the 25th, I can put the 25th there. But it'll be attached from the back side of it, not on the front. So we're going to do that. So I'm going to have to get those colored as well. But I did get the grout lines and stuff on there colored. Now as to painting these, the light boxes I made up for my Haunted Treasures hobby, I guess you can call it. It's not much of a business, it's more of a hobby. I don't promote the damn thing at all. I'm lousy at promoting, I always have been. Except for when it came to the haunt, and I don't know why. But with that one, when I did the painting on that, I just took some regular latex paint, I watered it down considerably, and then put that on, and so the light would shine through it. The problem with it, in some areas it was opaque. In other words, the light would shine through. Other areas it'd be a little bit too thick and the light wouldn't shine through it. After I made those, I started doing some research. They do make paints that you can get for doing sun catchers and imitation stained glass and what have you. That is already opaque. It comes in two different forms. So I went ahead and for this project I splurged and I bought two different types of paint. The first one I bought is this here. It's called a glass stain, but you put it on, it's got a needle applicator, and you just basically flood your area with that and kind of spread it out until the area is filled, and then you're done. I went and bought, oh God, what was it? 8 different colors of it to give it a try. Another one, it's called a glass paint, and you actually brush it on. And it comes in a tube like oil-based paints would be, and you just dip your brush in it and actually paint it on. The problem with the paint-on version is you see the brush marks, I would think. I haven't really opened it up, any of them, and tested them or anything, but I'm thinking these are water soluble, so I can probably dilute them down and just spread them out, you know, with a pipette or what have you, and get the look I want on my glass or on the plexiglass. So I'm going to be messing around with both of these types, both this watered down version and this, and see how they work. You know, I'm curious. And some lessons learned with doing this. Fun, interesting lessons that are going to end up being an expensive lesson. We started out, if you remember right, last segment I was using these little tubes. They're basically a tint, almost like a gel, more of a paint type thing. It cost me 13 bucks, and we got 12 different colors in a 2 milliliter tube. I took some of that, put it in a cup, add a little bit of water, and we came down here and did this. Came out more of a marbled look, which isn't bad. But I went through quite a few, well, with the colorings I used, I went through 4 tubes of paint just to do this area up to here. And it was to the point where I am not going to have enough paint in those tubes to do the whole thing. So I was going to have to get more paint. So that, and it was a little bit more opaque than I wanted. I mean, light does shine through it, but not as much as I wanted. So I went down to, I actually did some research, and over at Michael's I found these here. This is a pouring medium. It starts out as a white, kind of almost a gel, very thick, not quite a gel but not actually water either. It's very thick. And you get this and then buy your paint and use the paint as your tint to tint that stuff. And an 8-ounce bottle, in fact, this is what I've got left of the yellow there in an 8-ounce bottle, which isn't much. It's only down to about there. I used about 6 ounces of it with the paint mixed into it and did the rest of the sign. And I got the look, actually got the look I wanted. As you can actually see the surface of the table through it. But you hold it up to light, it's more translucent, and that's what I wanted. That's what I was originally going for. Unlike this here, it's kind of thick. Another thing I learned too, while I'm on the paint, I should stick to the paint. So what I'm going to end up doing is we're going to do the rest of the sign in that stuff I got from Michael's. We'll do both signs in that solution. I like that solution. The quandary I'm at now though is the yellow, the mixture I'm doing from Michael's is a lot different looking from the stuff I got out of the tubes. And you can definitely tell the difference between the two. Both when it's laying flat like this. This has more of a dull finish where this is more of a gloss. But the coloring is different as well. And I don't like it. So, another problem that we had, and this was my own stupid mistake, is I decided to do this without a clean surface underneath of it. Which means, let's see, where was it? Where was it? Ah, yeah, it was up here on the D. Here. if you notice, I don't know if you can or not, but you can see where I did not clean the sheet good enough. There's still a little bit of a smudge from when I did the lettering. That is showing through the yellow. And there's a couple other areas on the sign like that too. I did not clean this. So now with those two mistakes on here, I can't use this panel because it's not going to look right. So I'm going to end up having to redo this sign, which is going to be fun, which means I'm going to have to re-sketch out the pattern, redo the grouting, repaint it, redo the lettering, start all over from scratch, which is what I am going to end up having to do. I'm also going to have to buy more of this stuff because I didn't pick up enough to redo the signs. So I'm going to have to do that. Now, down at Michael's, this little 8-ounce bottle, by the time you pay tax on it, comes to about $16.49. That seems a little pricey to me for what I'm doing. So I went and I did some research and went through eBay. I can buy the same stuff on eBay for an 8-ounce bottle for $12 up to $20, depending on who you buy it for. So you have to watch the price on it. So I can get an 8-ounce bottle for 12 bucks. I can get a 32-ounce bottle of this stuff for, what was it? It was about $30, just about $30, which would be 4 of these bottles, which would be cheaper than buying an 8-ounce bottle. Or I can get a gallon-sized jug of it for 80 bucks. Which is, you know, makes it even cheaper yet. So I think I'm going to start buying this stuff if I'm going to be doing more of these projects. And I probably will, because I'm enjoying doing the stained glass. I'll probably get it through eBay. In fact, I'm going to put an order in now for some of this stuff. But anyway, this one is going to end up being being my test panel. So I'm going to set this off to the side, and I'm going to bring in another sheet, and we're going to redo this sign. Okay, it's been a couple of days, but we got progress. I've got one of the lenses done. And there you go. Unfortunately, I cannot hold this up, hold the light, and hold the camera at the same time. But this is the Rules one. We used a gray, which is semi-transparent, more solid than transparent for the grout lines, a transparent red, a little thicker yellow that does glow, and a different shade of red for the letters inside. So light will penetrate it, but all the rules are up. It's nice and well defined. And to give you an idea here, we'll slide it off the table. Got me a trusty flashlight, and we'll go like that. You can see how it glows. Now there is some cloudiness and stuff here and there in the yellow, you know, and same in the red. But when you're doing stained glass, the glass isn't a perfect shade. There's always imperfections and stuff in it. But that will give you an idea, and you'll get another look at it when I get it into the boxes and the LED lights in. You know, you'll get a finished look at it. But for now, this panel is finished. So I can set it off to the side and start working on the other one. Alright, I've got the other film up on the table. We've gone through and gotten the letters painted. I got the grout lines done last night in here in between the brick, and I went through and I gave it one cleaning. I'm going to go through and do another cleaning, but we're basically ready to start adding the colors. I'm putting this one on hold for now, and we're going to go over here, which was what Kay was sniffing, is with that sign. That sign is done and ready to be mounted in its frame. So I'm going to take it out in the shop. I'm going to get mounted in the frame. I'm going to get that sign totally finished. Alright, we're out in the shop. I got one frame, the frame for the rule sign up on the table. And I've got its plexiglass in, and you can hear it more than you can see it. Got the film off of it. It's just laying in there. Next piece is getting that in. Quick and simple. It's in. Now the Next part is to secure it in. And what I did is like I did on the front of the boxes here. I cut out 2 sets of these strips to act as stoppers. The front ones are stained naturally to match the frame. The inside ones I've got painted white. And we just simply slide these in all the way around. I'm doing the outside edges first, then the upper and the bottom. There we go. I'll get that piece in, and then we'll come around through with my pneumatic nailer and we'll just tack them into place. I don't want to permanently attach them so those strips can't come off. I want to be able to get the plexiglass out if need be, you know, for cleaning or maintenance or repair. So we'll probably put a tack here, here, and here. Just three tacks in each strip. Those strips are just to keep the plexiglass from flopping around inside the box when the box is being moved. So we're going to do that, and then once that's done, it's a matter of getting it in the house, getting the lights attached and putting the back on, and there you go. It's attached in its frame. Still need to get the back piece on, which is right there, and I can't put that on until I get the lights installed. Now we've got to get this back in the house on the table down in my basement shop, and we'll get the lights installed, which shouldn't take too terribly long, I don't think. Okay, we're in the shop now. I'm getting ready to install my RGB lights. Now, if you're interested in doing this, I get mine off of eBay. You can get just a little over a 15-foot roll of the RGB light strips for about $5, $6, fairly cheap. But that's just for the light strip. If you want to buy the whole kit that runs this, which would be the light strip, a control box, a power adapter, and the remote, you can get them anywhere from $8 to $12 on eBay. You can go down to Home Depot, get the same identical thing with everything, the remote, the control box, power, and the lights, and you're going to spend anywhere from $20 to $30 for it. A lot cheaper to go off of eBay. Plus, I don't know if they carry both types of the RGB. Now, what I mean by both types is this one here is a waterproof RGB, or water resistant. I like to say waterproof, so it's waterproof as long as you keep the connector out of the water. You can see the lights in there, but it has a clear dome of silicone over the top of it to seal it. Or you can get the non-waterproof, which means everything is accessible. And the nice thing about these is you can measure out what you need and then cut it. And you end up cutting it on the copper there. Now, for this, so depending on which type you get, it depends on where your project's going to be at. This one's going to be hanging outside, so I'm going to be using the waterproof one. Oh, and one thing I should mention too is if you're planning on buying these off of eBay, make sure you read the descriptions. There are, other than the waterproof and non-waterproof, there are several different types of these RGBs. This is a 5mm, which means the width of it is only 5mm. You can get the widths in different sizes. There are some RGB light strips out there that only do one color, regardless of what you plug them in for, I guess. But they only do one color. These here are multicolor. If I hook the box up, I can run it through 24 different colors. So you gotta pay attention to that too. Now to install these, what I'm going to do is the first step I've got to do is I've got to decide. There's the top of my box there. I got to figure out how I am going to be mounting the box. If I'm going to be hanging it, I normally like the wires to come out the top. If it's going to be sitting near the ground level, I'll put the wiring out the bottom. These lights, or these light boxes, are going to be hung. Almost all my light boxes are hung. So I'll be making sure this little pigtail here, which is where you plug in the computer brain for, is up here on the top. And then I've got to decide, do I want it on the left or the right side? And it really doesn't make a difference. Or I could put it dead center in the center too. So either way will work on that one. Depends on how I plan on hiding the wire, which changes from year to year. But to install them, I'll go ahead and I'll reel this out around the edge, all the way around, cut off what I need. And then on the back of these, they have a self-adhesive already on the back. And the self-adhesive sucks. I don't rely on it because it very rarely ever sticks for more than about 5 minutes. So I'll be using some hot glue. I'll put a couple of dots of hot glue on it every couple of inches and then pressing it right against here. And this stop stick I put in to keep the plexiglass from moving is also a good way of hiding the lights. You know, I'll attach it here and it'll allow the light to flood the box, but from the front side you won't be able to see the lights. There you go. Sign's done. I went and did the power cord off the corner, and then when this goes into storage, I can take the back plate off a little bit and tuck this inside so it doesn't get damaged. I've also attached chains to it for hanging. There's one on each corner and another right there, so it can be hung. And I've got it set to yellow right now. With as transparent as I did the red on it, the red shows up best with yellow. If I do one of the other colors, you really don't see the red on the brick. So we got that. Now the funny thing is, me and Swim were just kind of chuckling over it. Every stage of this, as I was putting this together, I had Sue coming down and checking me, checking my work and what have you. And everything got approved all the way through the project. And when I first hooked this up to power, I had it hooked up with a wall wart that was defective. And the thing was flashing and it shouldn't have been. I've got hooked up to my power station at the moment. But Sue Ann was going through looking at it, and she kept saying, something doesn't look right, something doesn't look right. Finally, figured it out. What was screaming at her was this bottom window down here. This home haunt is being video tarped. T-A-R-E-P. It's supposed to be taped. T-A-P-E-D. Some or all video footage may be posted on the internet. That was a spelling error. I missed it. I've gone over that thing so many damn times with the caulking, with stenciling it, with painting. Swan's even missed it 4 or 5 times. So I'm going to have to get that back up on the table. I'm not going to take it out of its frame, but it's a quick, easy fix. So I've got still a little bit more work. But I'm going to call this one done for now. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to get it back up on the table and get that spelling error fixed. And then we'll get to working on the hours plaque. And I got the panel out. I had to take it out in the shop to disassemble it. It was a lot easier doing it out there than trying to do it in here. But there's the word I've got to fix. TARP. T-A-R-E-P. It's supposed to be T-A-P-E-D. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to take a razor blade, and on the leg there, it comes down on there. I got to cut it off. That'll give me my P back. And then I'll come back with some of the yellow background and fill the gap. Over here, I got to do the same thing. I got to get this cut off here on the P, the bottom part of the loop. And then I'll get the caulking out and go back over it, let it dry, and it's going to have to be painted, what have you. And then, technically, this panel should be done. I can reinstall it, and that light box is finished. But after seeing this in the light box with lights on it, The one thing I'm not liking, I want the brick to show up. I want the yellow to show up. I want the words to show up. They all show up. Well, actually the yellow and the wording show up and the grout lines show up. But unless I have that light box on yellow, and yellow or white, the coloring on the bricks really don't show up. The brick's a little too translucent. You know, even though I like the translucent, it just doesn't work with the different colored lights. So I'm thinking about getting my red out again, adding just a hair more tint to it and re-going over the brick. That will darken the brick up a little bit more so they'd be more noticeable versus the they just wouldn't be as, it would darken them up a bit more but not quite as dark as the yellow. So I'm thinking about doing that. I haven't really decided yet. I do know I need to get tarped fixed down here though. Well, we got my corrections made on the rules sign. It is officially done. It's been set dresser approved. In other words, Sue's okayed it. And I did do another change on it. I went over and redid the brick just a little bit and darkened them up. They were a little bit too transparent, so I like that look a lot better. And then down here at the bottom where it said where I had tarred, it says taped now. So I got that fixed too. I did that yesterday. But this one here, like the rest of my RGB light strips, I can set it to different colors. I'm finding either red or yellows, oranges. The brighter colors work better. Dark colors like blue and purple, it doesn't look as good. So, but that one is now officially done. So I can set that one off to the side, which means we can switch over here to this one. And we got started last night. I went and got the yellow in. And it's the same yellow all the way down. It's dried. I lightened the paint up a little bit so it's a little bit more translucent than it is on that one. That one's a thicker one, so it has more of a cloudier look to it. More of a rippled look to the yellow. This one's a little more translucent, so you can, I don't know if it's picking it up on camera and there's no light behind it, but it is a little thinner color, so it'll be interesting to see what it looks like once it's in its box. Today's project is going through and doing the brick. I gotta get the red in the brick, and I'm going to use the same red on this one that I did on that one. Out in the shop. Pretty much on last stages for this point. Wanted to get the hour sign into its frame, and I needed to address these little numbered plaques that I made. Needed a way of attaching them. Originally I was just going to lay it over the hole and run a piece of tape across it, and over time the tape would leave marks, and it's just like, nah. So I decided to get a little daring, and I had some scrap plexiglass, which you really can't see from there, so we'll go here like this, that was thicker than the original plexiglass that I made the sign on. And I took two pieces and I tried, and the daring part was using hot glue. I was a little nervous about using hot glue on plexiglass, thinking of, you know, the heat of the hot glue, and, you know, it might melt or leave a mark or something. It didn't, you know, it worked fine. But I cut some strips out of it, and actually, I think we can get you a good angle on it here, made a pocket to go across the bottom and the sides, so I can take the number. See if I can do this one-handed. It fits in there tight, but it just slides down into place, and I'll hold it into place. So we ended up doing that. Then I got my runners in along the side here, which is how I'm holding the plexiglass. And I got to thinking, I didn't show you on the other one how I did the inside. And then I used more hot glue to put the lighting in with a pigtail sticking out the top. Now about the only thing left to do on it is put the back on there and install the hooks, and this one will be, for the most part, done. I still need to add that second sheet on the inside here, or not on the inside, but on the front here, to help protect this sign, and that will help stiffen this sign up a little bit too, having both pieces of plexiglass in. But that's not in the budget for this month. But oh, by the way, you can see the number there. But yeah, no, I need to get that second piece of plexiglass, and I'll be doing that next month, and that will totally finish the sign out. But I wanted to show you guys these, and I might do a small reveal video with both signs up together and lit up. That'll be up maybe January, February, you know, depending on when I get this sign finished. There we go, turn out the lights. I think that will be noticeable at night. And the numbered plaque I got in here is lighting up just fine. It's a little bit darker than the rest of it, but it still shows up good enough. I think people will be able to tell what our hours are now. And I won't need to put floodlights up here on the corners aiming down at it like I did with the old sign, which will be nice, which will mean a little less work. Get that turned back on. But it's not too bad, and like with the rural sign, I can adjust it to different colors as needed, you know, if I want, and go from there. Now, also, like I said, out in the shop, I still got a sheet of plexiglass I need to put in over the top of this, and it does need it, because this plexiglass I'm using is off kind of thin, so it's very flexible. Having another sheet of plexiglass over the top of it stiffens it up considerably and will help protect the sign a bit. As I said, out in the shop, I'll be doing that in January. And once I get that done, I'll do a reveal video with both signs. It'll probably be like a 2-minute clip or something. It'll be up sometime in January, possibly February, depending on when I get the plexiglass. So, be kind of looking for that. But for right now, I'm calling this project done. Probably next vlog will probably be up sometime in January. I don't know when. Probably toward the middle to the end of the month. We are going to be working on these photos from the photo hall. Originally when I made them out of foam and then just did the detail work with caulking. And they're starting to show the wear and tear. A lot of the pictures, the caulking is starting to come off and what have you. So, and the pictures really can't be seen even with the LEDs shining at. The LEDs tend to glare off of the plexiglass, which makes it harder to see. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to redo these in the light box fashion. And that will be a project in January that I'll be doing. It's not in the budget for this month. But with that, so be looking for that. I also have a lot of maintenance type stuff I need to get done as well. And all. So keep an eye out sometime in January for the reveal video and our next project video. With that, I'm going to wish you guys a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, what have you. We'll see you in the new year. Stay spooky. Stay toxic.